Okay. Hello. Welcome to Kill the Bottle Podcast. Eddie's Mora, aka the Yum Yum Foodie, and as always, across from me is the lovely Megan Elizabeth. Megan, you have a nice, happy smile today. I can't say yet why you're smiling. The folks who'll see the video will know.
I know. I'm entertained by our guest already. He's
Our
very
guest
entertaining.
is thoroughly entertaining. Smart man. He's got his glass of wine. I mean, it is called Kill the Bottle Podcast, so I'll let you know real quick what I'm sipping on. Last night, I'm still recovering from the dinner I had at Bavel yesterday here, one of my favorite restaurants in LA. But I was there with the Israeli wine producers, so I got to go home with some good Israeli wine. I'm drinking a GSM from the Judean Hills, and GSM, so it's Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, very typical to your Rhone varietal that you dig if you like your Côte de Rhone wines. And this one is kind of like right down the middle. It's 34 Mourvedre, 33 Grenache, 33 Syrah, and it is from Gush Etzion Winery. Yeah. Anyway, age 12 months. This is some good shit. It's some nice good food wine. What are you sipping on, Megs?
Menage a trois.
Oh,
Wow.
really? You had to go to Menage a Trois.
How about
You know
Menage a
what?
Trois?
Exactly. For those of you who are wondering who that voice is from the heavens, that is our guest today. He is an actor, an author, a screenwriter, singer. He has a wonderful podcast called Hollywood Godfather Podcast. And if you wonder why he has a podcast with the name Godfather in it, it's because some of you might recognize this gentleman as Carlo in the iconic film by Francis Ford Coppola, The Godfather. We want to welcome to Kill the Bottle Podcast, the man, the myth, also the legend, Gianni Russo. How are you, Johnny?
I like that intro, man. The man.
You like that?
Myth.
You like that?
I love
it.
Funny. Are you kidding?
What are you sipping on, Johnny?
I have 900 hectares of land.
Okay.
Of my own vineyards.
Bravo. Where?
In Italy, obviously, not in Israel. But I've been to Israel. I lived in a kibbutz. I had a lot of fun there many years ago. But I inherited this stuff, not because I have money. I just was on the land for 22 months after the Kennedy assassination, and I had nothing to do. So I was trying to find all this land that, during the First World War, Second World War, these poachers just took it over. So what I did, I went back to Puglia and Grosseto, all those areas, and got 900 hectares of land, let everybody stay on it, but I have first option on the crop. So that's what I'm drinking.
Not too, not too shabby. No. And is it?
I wish I had a story like that behind mine.
I know. Mine is like the wines.
I may like your story better.
I think you will.
Yeah, smart man. Johnny, so it's funny because I did know you. Now that I mentioned, I did say the man, the myth, the legend. What is, in reference to The Godfather, is there, or what is the biggest myth that's out there about the movie, in your experience or whatever, that just drives you crazy when you hear it perpetuated? That you're like, this didn't happen like that.
Well, no, most of it did.
Good.
What I'm getting a lot of now because of the offer, that 10-hour miniseries, that's a myth.
It's seen just through Albert Ruddy's eyes, essentially, I guess.
I guess, and Albert Ruddy, everything.
Yeah.
Albert Ruddy gave me the part. Albert Ruddy found the house on Staten Island. Well, we're not here to talk negatives, but anyway.
No, but I mean, that's fair, that would drive me crazy.
But at 26 years of age, I wanted to be an actor. I have an ego then bigger than I have now. And I figured I had a lot of money. So I had someone read me the book called The Godfather. And I thought I could play Michael, Sonny or Carlo. And then I read in the newspaper that Joe Colombo is picketing the FBI building. And for your audience that don't know who Joe Colombo is, he's one of the boss of the 5 families of the Colombo family. So with that said, I know how they think, and it's all about money. So I go see Joe. I know Joe. I mean, my whole family's been around this for a long time. I said, Joe, I said, can make a lot of money at this film. He said, how's that? I said, well, if you stop picketing, and he just hired a young gentleman that I'm still friends with. In fact, his son's now my attorney, Barry Schlotnick. And Barry Schlotnick represented the Italian Defamation League in New York. And that's what Joe Colombo created this league to not defame Italians through the book, through the FBI, and all of that. So with that said, I go to see him and I tell him my idea. Did you think that could happen? I said, well, Barry, what do you think? He said, let him try. Now I'm 26. Nobody knows me in the business. I got a gang of money. I've been working for Costello already 12 years. Everybody knows me as the kid. Nobody knew my name until The Godfather came out. So I walk up to the Gulf and Western building, which is now Trump Plaza on Columbus Circle.
Okay.
And I'm in the lobby and I'm watching Al Ruddy, Stanley Jaffe, Charlie Blue Dawn, who just bought Paramount at the
Paramount
time.
Pictures, yeah.
It's called Gulf and Western. And I knew Charlie Blue Dawn from Italy because he was around some friends of ours that he wanted nobody to know. And the last thing he wanted for his first film as owning Paramount would be this movie.
Yeah.
So I go to them at the elevator. I'm in the lobby. And I said, you guys have a lot of problems in New York with the mob. So no, we don't. I said, well, let me say something to you, okay? I just left Joe Colombo. They said, what? I said, I just left Joe Colombo and he wants me to arrange a meeting. And they all look at each other. They said, you could bring him here? I said, yeah. When do you want him? 10 o'clock tomorrow? It's no problem. So I leave there and I walk down Madison Avenue to the league office. I said, the meeting's on 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. They couldn't believe it because they've been trying to, they were all fighting in the papers and all that. So I said, Joe, do me a favor. I knew Butter Ass Chico, Joe DeChico. I knew all the heavy, like Luco Brazzi.
Oh, yeah.
Lenny Montana. He was a collector for them. I said, let's bring a couple of heavies with us, plus Barry Schlotnick, and you and I. The five of us go there.
A couple heavies.
Couple heavies, yeah.
No, because they're into this book. Let's walk in, let them see the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give them a good vision of what we're going for.
They're all sitting behind their desk. We're sitting on the other side. And they go through the whole thing. And they get up and they're shaking hands. They all agree. So I tug on Joe's sleeve. I know him that well. I said, Joe, what about me? So he says, what about my boy here? So Ruddy jumps right in. He says, oh, no, we're going to give him a part. I said, excuse me. Joe, could you tell them all to sit down? Because they were all standing. He goes like this, like the Lord. They all sat down.
Well, I mean, you know.
No, but I knew I had them then. I just wanted to see
yeah,
if
absolutely.
they were going to obey.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, let me tell you something. He would not be in this room unless I brought him here. So I want to play Michael, Sonny, or Carlo. And they look at me and they say, well, Michael's already been cast. And it was cast by James Caan first. Did you know that? He was playing Michael first.
Got it. No, that I did not know. I know that they wanted him for it, but I didn't know that he was cast as Michael first. Got it.
I mean, Bobby Evans, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until Francis Coppola got involved, he wanted this guy from, Brian. I mean, what was that first movie?
Was there a Brian? Well, no. Oh, shit.
No, he did. What was the name of that?
Wasn't it Needle and something?
Park. Panic in Needle Park.
Panic in Needle Park. Yep.
Who's older, you or me? Anyway, so I remember this, and I said, "Okay, who's playing Sonny?" They said, Carmine Caridi. He's in a play on Broadway because they thought he should be this big guy. I said, well, who's playing Carlo? I said, we didn't get to that yet. So I said to Joe, I want to play Carlo. This is Joe Colombo. He looks at them and he says, he's playing Carlo. They all looked at each other. And he said, he's playing Carlo. And that's how I got the part. Now, the offer, who the world is watching now, they made it totally different.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that would drive me insane. That would drive me insane, Johnny. if the story's that mistold, yeah.
I got the revenge. We all know the name James Patterson, a great author, right?
Mm-hmm.
James Patterson book comes out 3 months ago called a defense attorney about Barry Schlatnick. Now,
Mm.
your audience, even if they don't buy the book, go online, page 70 and 71, reflects what I just said in the book, that's how I got the part with Joe Colombo and Barry Schlatnick there. So
That's
I'm gonna have
that's
more
what we
fun
call
with it.
sweet revenge. It's
Oh,
lovely.
Who do we call to complain about this? How do I Karen
I
the
know.
studio?
You can't, you can't, because they were
Can't do
very
it.
smart. No, Paramount, Viacom, I'm in business with them yet. I mean,
Mhm.
I used to sleep in the Paramount when I was a kid because I had nowhere to go. After I got out of Bellevue after 5 years of polio, I was a gimp and I was sleeping there. My life revolves around Paramount, still to today. Quarterly owned, if your audience goes to quarterly owned fine Italian products, I'm the brand ambassador and I own the majority of the stock throughout the world.
Which I was lucky enough to try some of the bolognese sauce
Oh my
and the olive oil.
God. Oh,
and
Clemenza sauce.
yeah,
The meat sauce.
it's delicious. It
Oh,
is
great.
really, really good stuff. Yeah, our mutual friend Lisa
Yeah, I
sent me
love
some,
it.
and I was able to try it, and I was like, oh, this is, because when you see something labeled that'll have has Marlon Brando is on the bottling, you don't know. You don't
Right.
know, is it going to be good because it has an obvious label on it, and then you try and you're like, oh no, this tastes like somebody's made it. It's
Exactly.
delicious.
They're all my recipes. I made them myself, and it is Nana's recipe.
I need to do the intro again and call you a chef too. We need to throw all these into who
And comedian. Makes me laugh.
I know. Well,
so
which
many
is funny.
talents.
Speaking of, your Nona's recipe, is it hard for you to go to Italian restaurants because,
I don't
you
go
cook?
to Italian restaurants.
You don't? Okay.
Why
Okay,
would I
fair
go?
enough.
I'll go to
So-
Chinese. I don't know how to cook Chinese. I'll go there, but
Great point.
Which-
So if you know how to cook it, there's no point in going there.
Well,
I'm
my
gonna
diet-
live like that.
my dining room sits 16. What am I going to do? Sit there by myself? I invite people. I eat here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I know your favorite Italian restaurant in Miami, and the only reason is because I used to work there, and when you were
Marano's?
filming, well, Chloe, and when you were filming Any Given Sunday
Oh
in
my God,
Miami,
yeah.
I used to work at a restaurant called Paulo Luigi's
Oh,
in
yeah,
Coconut
sure.
Grove, and Johnny, you were just such a lovely person to all of us that worked there.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah,
like
and
it.
one of my best friends whose parents owned that restaurant, you were so generous and so lovely. You helped get him work on Any Given Sunday. And to this day, I told him I was going to talk to you today, and he's like, please tell Johnny thank you. His name is Zeph. He listens to the show, and he loves you to death because you were just so lovely to him. And I was just laughing because I was on a Zoom that you did with the Leave the Gun or Drop the Gun, Bring the Cannoli. You did the book.
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah, so I was on that Zoom and I was dying the whole time. I was like, wait a second. Johnny was every day for almost 3 months. You were hanging out with us, and you were just so lovely with us
Yeah.
in Miami.
Well, that was great. People don't realize I made 46 motion pictures. But
Yeah.
any given Sunday was so much fun because my brother-in-law, Pacino, came to me with that film with Oliver Stone. And he said, I know you have something to do with football. I said, I really don't. It's my brother-in-law. Pat Bowlen owns the Denver Broncos, and they just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right,
So-
because that was 99. They beat the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. That's right. Yeah.
No, but the year before, they won 2.
Oh,
This was
that's
in
right.
between. We
No, you're
won
right. It was
back to
98.
back.
Yep.
Ah. So with this, I'm at Dan Tanner's, and we get into this. I said, well, let me call Pat on the phone. He said, who's Pat? I said, Pat Bowlen owns the Denver Broncos. So I get him on the phone.
Don't ever lose your phone because people are going to be mad of everybody just calling all your friends.
So I said, Pat Bowlen. Pat, he said, yeah, Johnny, what are you calling me for? I said, I'm here with Pacino. And he don't know he's on speaker. He's like Al Pacino. I said, he says, what does he want? I said, he wants to talk to you about making a movie. He said, you kidding me? I said, and I didn't let him go any further. I said, Pat, Al. And I gave Al the phone.
Yeah.
And that's how we created Any Given Sunday.
That's funny. I mean, I actually really love that movie. That was I have an affinity for films that were shot in my hometown. I thought it was an Oliver Stone movie. It was really dark, had a lot of cool things going on. I still remember being an extra on that film at the Orange Bowl and getting to see Pacino, work.
We had the T-shirt cannon shooting the T-shirt.
Yeah.
I remember
yeah,
that.
and I got to see Pacino chew out Jamie Foxx on the sideline, and
Oh my
get
God.
and that was the first. I got to see that within 30, 40 feet of it happening, and it changed. I used to be an actor, and it changed my life watching Pacino work. Was there something about Brando, because you have been so blessed to be, first of all, it's got to be super intimidating because you're the only one who wasn't an actor. But in general,
You think I get intimidated by somebody? Forget about it.
Well, no, not when you're pulling Joe Colombo's, tugging on his shirt and he makes people sit down. But you're in a room with.
Don't forget, if you read my book, by that time I already had two notches on my gun. So Brando ain't gonna intimidate me.
Bravo.
Wow.
Bravo.
I gotta go.
The shit out of everybody else.
Holy cow. That's right. Wow. No one intimidates you. There's nobody in the world that intimidates you.
I'm going to tell your audience why I am who I am. I'm going to be 80 in December. My life changed, not because of The Godfather, not because of anything, but March 7th, 1949, when I was diagnosed with polio and quarantined in Bellevue, a state hospital, for 5 years straight by yourself.
Wow.
If that don't toughen you up,
No.
there's nobody going to intimidate you.
There's nothing that can do it.
I mean, what did you do to entertain yourself at that time? Did you read? Did you write? Did you draw?
No, see, that's the other why I wrote this book. I wrote this book in 95, Hollywood Godfather. I have, fortunately, 9 sons, 2 daughters, 10 grandsons. I got 21 kids. They don't even talk to each other. They're on iPads and this, that, and the other. As far as entertainment, this is 1949. There's not even a TV in the room. I looked at a ceiling for 5 years.
Oh, man.
And I got out of there. That's why every day to me is New Year's Eve. I don't care about nothing. Yeah. Why would I? And it's been great.
Yeah. Which
definitely change your perspective, because isolation is one of the most torturous things on someone's head. And you didn't let, was there any after effects from that? Right after that you suffered from being that lonely for that long?
I never used it, but I am totally insane. I went and get in front of a judge one day and said, listen.
Right. Why did I ask? I knew that answer.
Yeah, you knew the
when
answer.
When I need it, I'm going to call on and say, Your Honor, I did,
when I need it.
60 months, I went and go crazy in there.
That's great.
Well,
that's great.
One thing I love about your story, Gianni, is, you talk about your, connection to numerology and how you change essentially every 7 years, and you have in your life. Where does that stem from? The connection for you and numerology?
Well, you know what it is? I was born 7 minutes to midnight, 1943, all sevens, 4 and 3 is 7, 12, 12. And when I was 7 years old, Carlo Gambino sent a transistor radio up to the hospital. And when I told the story to Sinatra one day, he said, "Who sent you the radio?" I said, "Carlo Gambino." He's like,
"That Gambino?"
Carlo
yeah, that Gambino.
I said,
yeah.
He said, "At 7. I said, "Well, Dolores Barone was my floor nurse, was his niece." And I didn't know, unbeknownst to me, my uncle in Sicily sent all of them here. So they knew Angelo Russo. But why I'm bringing it up, on December 12th, I turned on the radio and I'm hearing all the accolades of Sinatra, how he's from humble beginnings in Hoboken, his mother's a barmaid. He became my mentor. I figured if he could do it, and now I'm crawling like a snake out of bed because they wouldn't give you a bedpan no more. I'm dragging myself, getting on the rails. Fortunately, I had the strength in my right side. And when I told Sinatra 5 years later, I meet him at the Copa, because now I'm working for Costello.
Yeah.
And I walk in there, and I still have a little deformity at that time. And he looks at me when I walk in, he's doing a sound check. And he looks at Julie Bodell, and he said, like to say, who's this kid? And Jules said, that's Mr. C's kid. Well, I felt 10 foot tall. So he continued singing. So I sat down, I listened to, I only listened to him on the radio. I never saw him. Now, as soon as the break, he puts a cigarette in his mouth. I run right over and I light it. What's your name, kid? I said, the kid. You know, what's your real name? I said, the kid. He said, who gave you that name? I said, Frank Costello. Oh, I'm sorry. So then I tell him, I said, you know, you saved my life. He says, how'd I do that? I said, well, Mr. Gambino sent me a transistor radio for my birthday. And he said, like you said, you mean the Mr. Gambino? I
That
said,
Gambino?
yeah.
Yeah.
He said, how old are you right now? I said, I'm 15. He said, you're dropping a lot of names. Should I be talking to you? I haven't even worried. And from that day forward, he baptized my son Luciano. I'm the only human being in the world could say what I'm about to say. My only singing teacher was Frank Sinatra.
Not too shabby.
My only acting teacher was Marlon Brando. How could I not succeed?
Yeah, that's
my
true.
God.
But it's funny because as you know, as funny as that is, I guess your upbringing, being around folks that people were, scared of, or seeing people be intimidated, and you not being intimidated because you're familiar with people, it's a comfortable space for you, because you could have easily ruined that Godfather movie as a non-actor, really, and you
Oh, yeah.
didn't. You
Well,
shined.
Well, it's so funny because with what you're saying is so true. Everybody I told I was in the movie is, how'd you get in this movie? Forget about it. And now we have the first rehearsal on 119th Street in Harlem. I don't know protocol. I've never been on a set. I did nothing. So I felt comfortable going up to Patsy's on 119th Street because that's Fat Tony Salerno's joint, part of the Genovese family. I used to bring midnight loans up there when I was 16, 17, 5,000, 10,000. So now I got a Chinese chick driving me up there in a 65 Bentley. I'm in Brioni. I get there an hour before. I want to go to the bar and say hello to everybody. Everybody was there. Danny Pagano. I'm giving you real names. Angelo Cheesecake, the Jet. I mean, everybody. So they said, what are you doing here so early? I normally come in light. We'd have a zig and that game. I said, I'm here for the rehearsal. For the Godfather? I said, yeah. He said, what are you going to do in there? I said, I got a big part. I'm playing Carlo. Let's get out of here. Like everybody did. They said that to me. So now they call us into the room. And they have a whole big table set up. And Coppola has everybody sitting in unison, way with family or in order. And he said, before I bring Brando in, I want you, the Italians, to exaggerate your hand manner, everything you do. Because James Caan, who was sitting there, is Jewish. He has to become Italian. Marlon Brando's Polish. He has to become Italian. We have a week to do this.
Oh my gosh.
So now, the next thing he says before they bring Marlon Brando in, the guard, everybody wanted to, all these thespians, this is their guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. So I'm sitting there and they said, when he comes in, do not have eye contact with him. Do not talk to him. Don't approach him. It's no problem. I sat there, but I wanted to be nice. I didn't know. Here he comes. We do 45 minutes. Everybody's doing their lines. Nobody's just reading. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing anyway. And where I said Carlo, I read. And then I got some help because I can't even read. I'm illiterate. And I never went to school. So with that said, Brando approaches me. Comes over to me. I said, oh, I'm in trouble. He said, you're a big TV actor. I said, no. You have a big movie coming out. I said, no, I don't. He said, well, you're not on Broadway. I know everybody on Broadway. I said, you're right. Is this a quiz show? To show you I'm not intimidated. That's what I said to Brando. He looks at me, he said, who'd you study with? I said, what are you talking about? Study what? What are you talking about? So he calls Coppola over. He says, Coppola. He says, Francis, this guy's playing Carlo. And I got the part from Joe Colombo, not anybody in Paramount, not And he goes very reluctantly. I said, I know. He said, yeah. And I don't know protocol. I never been on a set, even a rehearsal. I said, Francis, do me a favor. Go over there a minute. I dismissed the director. The whole room went silent because these guys, they know the protocol.
Yeah.
So when they said, don't even look at him, I put my arm around him. And I walk him out of the room where the connecting would be. I knew nobody back there now. I didn't want to embarrass the guy.
Oh my gosh.
I knew he was trying to get me fired because he said to Colby, this guy's got to be a great actor. He gets my youngest son, my oldest son, Sonny killed. He brings Michael into the family. He's got to be believable. He's not
It's
even
a pivotal. It is a pivotal character. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It was the thread when I found out the thread through the movie, the nemesis. I learned that word one time. So I walk him to the back and I'm getting nose to nose with him. And I said, let me just tell you something, Mr. Brando. I saw all your films. I respect you, but you get me fired. Listen to me. I will suck on your heart. You will bleed out right here. You will not leave this place. No, I didn't know what the guy was going to do. I love the look on Megan's face.
I can't use that line to get parts. I'm just telling you.
No,
I'm going to try next time, though.
No, he stepped back and he said, that was amazing. You're a good actor. He thought I was acting. I was going to kill the guy.
Hey, whatever works,
No, but how can I go back to the neighborhood? They all said I wasn't at to begin with. They all think I'm lying.
An
No,
amazing
absolutely.
actor.
Yeah, I mean, you had to definitely get your street cred, which is funny. It's as a fan of the film, and I did. I watched The Offer, but I didn't watch it in the sense of it being a real story per se. I watched it in the sense of after I saw this guy Matthew Good play Bob Evans, I couldn't stop watching it because he was so good as Bob Evans. I got so sucked in because he was the reason I kept on watching the story. But your death scene. How many times did they have to replace that damn windshield? Because that's a pain in the butt shooting, first of all. But I watch things like that logistically, and I'm like, how many times did you have to do that?
You know what's so funny? I still get up in the morning and find glass in some of my shoes.
He's just like, here we go again.
Of course.
No, it's but again, it was my first time. I wanted to give it my best, like I do in any business I go into.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are talking about it 52 years ago since we made it. It's crazy.
It's wild. And then, in a rare sense, I guess The Godfather Part 2, you're in that one shot in the film. And yeah, how did that come about? Because it was, probably at least 3 years later. Chances are maybe you didn't even look the same. Maybe you had longer hair, maybe, whatever. How did that phone call come about for that, for that scene at the end, that shot?
Well, they wanted that scene. And
okay.
It's funny about that. I didn't need, the good news, I live so great without money. Money confuses me. So what are they going to offer me? They offered me 10 times more than I got for the whole film for one day. I said, why wouldn't I show up? I'm coming. I'll be there. See, but Brando wouldn't go because I already did another. What most people don't know, Michael LaBelle and Andrew Bergman, they're very close friends of mine. We did 3 movies together. We did Chances Are, we did Striptease, and The Freshman.
I remember The Freshman with Broderick.
Hello, Matthew Broderick, Bruno Kirby.
Oh,
I got Brando $15 million to play Don Corleone again, and you couldn't mention his name on screen, which we all thought was great. It was fun. If anybody remembers this, I've been goofing on Hollywood every day since I got my first part. I don't know what I'm doing, but look at the movies I made. I mean, look at Family Man, great movie with Nicolas Cage and me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I get residual checks. My kids say, Poppy, how's this money coming? Because I gave it to their trust. I don't even want the money. But, I got 46 movies and 200 hours of television. I'm getting 15 cents from Germany, but who cares?
Hey, the other day,
More
I
than
got,
I'm getting from
like,
Germany.
no joke. I love, and I will deposit every check. I don't care. I got a check for 3 cents from General Hospital that I did in like 2005 for Europe. And I was like, you know what? Somebody worked for this check. I am putting this check in the bank. I don't care. It was so small, the phone app couldn't read the 3 cents. So I was like, I'm just going to hold on to this. The next time I have to go in person, and I'm going to deposit. And I did.
You know what I think? But see, in the Screen Actors Guild, which I'm far beyond that, when they're cutting people's pensions now and
Yes.
all that, to me, that's not fair.
Nope. I've been trying to get on SAG for a little over a year now. It's becoming so difficult, and now it's making it so you really maybe don't want to be on it at this point. With what they're doing.
I'm saying this on public television, radio, to both of you. My life is so insane. Patrick Weisberger, you may know the name from, what the hell is it? New Line. What the big film studio? What's it?
New Line Cinema.
No, I think it's a different one. Anyway, Patrick won the Oscar this year for Coda.
Uh-huh.
And Patrick and I know each other when he was at college in Italy, and I was doing films for his father, who owned all the theaters in France. Not Washburger. Now, I called him Washburger at that time. I said it phonetically. But this kid, he said, if I win the Oscar for Coda, I'm making your movie the way you want it. Because when everybody wanted to make my movie, my book is a bestseller yet, 2.5 years later. But then the like you're saying, the unions, we were making it. I had David O. Russell, I had Mark Wahlberg playing me. They did 72-page script already. Then they said, well, you have to put a transgender in. You have to put people of color. And I said, hold a minute, wait a minute. My life had none of this. And I'm not going to plasticize my life for what's going on right now. I'll wait. And
that's fair. That's what, it's your story.
I got one story to tell. I want my grandson to say, Poppy, who was that person with the lisp talking to you? Yeah, it happened. So anyway.
But you've lived essentially, you've lived more lives than many people combined. Is there anything that's on your bucket list? Is there something you haven't done yet that you want to do?
Oh, I'm doing it. If you and your audience goes right now to Rapology.
Rapology, okay.
Okay. A guy called Joel and a guy called Racist, top producers. Joel, is like one of the biggest rappers in the world. He's got 270 million followers. They took my book and him and I rapped my book.
Oh, what a treat.
What?
The album is out.
That is insane.
That's the kind of things I'm going for. My new book comes out this fall called The Sixth Family.
When the hell do you have time to write a second book? You're doing a show, you're traveling around, you're almost 80 years old. Like, stop. We get
it. I'm launching
you're a badass.
I'm launching my clothing line, La Cosa Mia by Gianni. It's
You're
online
killing
now.
me. Gianni, you're making me feel like I'm
Wait a second. Look, no. Hold on. Gianni's got a lot of kids. He's got a lot of grandkids. He's got to leave a legacy. He's got to make sure people are taken care of. So keep working. I am
books, movies.
Eddie, I'm not leaving them a nickel. I want them to earn their own money. You know what I'm doing? I started educational funds.
Okay.
For people like me. When I die, I'm buying scholarships, feeding the homeless. My kids have too much money to begin with. You think I can give them more money to confuse them? They didn't earn one dime, these kids. Forget about it.
No. Well, if you ever want to throw some this way, LA's expensive. I'm coming to New York. I'll work for you.
But what I was going to say to the both of you, you'll get your SAG card on Patrick's film.
Oh my God.
Hollywood
Let's do
I will
it.
cry.
Godfather next
I'll
year.
cry.
And,
Do
and
it.
he's going for Bradley Cooper to play me. Not a small
Wow.
budget, big film.
Not a small budget. No, not for
Oh.
Bradley Cooper. Just I think
Oh.
you need a big budget just to keep all the women from trying to jump him when he's on the streets
Oh.
of New York
Yeah, I
shooting a
can't be there.
scene. You know? I mean, for real. So you mentioned you were friends with Frank, and there's
Oh
those
my God.
sorry, Sinatra. The stories of him being upset, at The Godfather because he thought the character of Johnny Fontaine was based on him,
It
and
was. I
so
talked to
did he
Bob.
have any? Was he pissed at you at all about that?
That's a classic story because he already asked Victor Mo not to do and all that. So
Yeah,
and
yeah. That's right.
I'm very close to him. But there's another guy never intimidated me. One night in the Bacchanal room at Caesar's Palace. See, one thing about Frank, you got to know when to leave him. 1 or 2 o'clock, when he starts slurring his words, leave.
Yeah, wow.
Martini number 5. All right, we gotta
Oh
go.
my
No, but
God.
that's what he calls them martinis by them.
Oh.
No, but I'm going to share this with your audience. He goes to slap me. Now his
What?
arm is like a wishbone. I grab his arm in the air and he's looking at Jilly. I said, let me just tell you something. Don't ever try to do this again. And he's looking at Jilly. I said, what are you looking at him for? Put a bullet in his head right here. And Jilly ain't moving. Now he knows. In fact, there was a bad odor coming from Frank Sinatra at this time.
Yeah,
Wow.
I said, let me tell you something, Frank. The next time you try to do this, I'll rip off your arm and shove it up your ass. Okay? I was 23.
Oh my
Before The
God.
Godfather, before that caca, forget about it.
I mean, you also spent 5 years alone,
Well,
battling a disease. So at the end of the day, what do you have to lose? You've already been, I guess, at the worst you could possibly think of, say, before death, right? You've been there.
Well, if anybody read the book, How I Got Out of the Hospital, as I killed a pedophile. I was 12.
Wow.
He tried to attack me. I killed him with a broom. I put a broom through his heart, under his
Oh my-
ribcage. I was sitting on the bowl, and this guy's trying to feed me his penis, telling me it's a Tootsie Roll. You got to read the book.
Yes, we do.
Good
I wa-
Lord.
I watched this guy spinning around in a white tile bathroom, bleeding out. I just did 5 years, watched 2,300 kids die. You think something's going to affect me?
Oh yeah, no.
I mean,
Forget about it.
no, I mean, at the end of the, but it's funny. Life is all about perception, right? You could live a sheltered life, and your perception of XYZ scares the crap out of you, or you could live a life where you've been through X amount of things and just stuff. What's real, not what's real, but what is actually makes a difference in life. You know that getting mad about, I don't know, your steak being overcooked is not worth it.
How about French fries are cold? They shoot the guy at
Yeah.
McDonald's in New York. I mean, what's going on? This is crazy. I mean, I'm the guy, even at my age, because I walk every day. I walk 2 to 3 miles every day. I
That's
weigh
great.
158 pounds. I got a 31-inch waist. I'm ready to go to training right now. But
I wish
why?
I weighed 100.
I walk with a cane because I got a CCW. I got a concealed weapons permit in New York, Beverly Hills, and Vegas. My lawyer said, you shoot somebody in this atmosphere, you're going to jail. So I had a special cane made.
Oh no.
And I walk with it. So far, I'm 3 for 3. Just knees and ankles. The guy says,
Yeah.
oh, I love your Rolex, old man. I said, well, save your money, you get one. He said, I think I'm going to take that one. I said, count to 10, think about it. And I whacked him and blew his knee right in the head,
Yeah.
laying on the street crying like a baby. No,
I mean,
they-
I'm
yeah,
assuming it's a 22 because that's what a 22 will do.
hello. But
Yeah.
I got a cane.
Yeah.
With a skull on it. That's 3 pounds. I don't care where I hit you. If I want to kill you, I hit you in the tempo. I mean, I know how to
Yeah.
use stuff. I'm 10-degree Tai Chi Batsu. See that hand? That hand is not an 80-year-old man hand.
No, trust me. My dad is 78, and no, that is not an 80-year-old Manhattan. You're mentioning you have the permit in Vegas, and you wrote a really interesting film story that takes place in Vegas called For Which He Stands, or and it's an interesting, really interesting story.
I like you did your homework.
I do. I'm a Cuban kid, man. My parents went through a lot of shit for me to get here. Yes, my parents.
I was in Cuba many times.
So, when my parents went through enough to get here, whatever I do in life, I put 100% to. And if you take your time to talk to us, I'm gonna take my time to learn about you, Johnny. And I was really fascinated by this story that you wrote about the Colombian crime family, and what happens in this story, and it's based on actual incidents. Can you shed a little light for me on that story? And also for the audience at home. I don't want to say what the film is about, but maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
The good news about what I'm finding out, the more interviews I do, the sharper my mind gets.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're talking about an incident, October 28, 1989.
Oh, wow. Okay.
At 1:27 in my club in Las Vegas.
In the morning. Yeah. Late night.
Late night. And at the door, for your audience, Steve Sharippa from Sopranos and now Blue
Yeah.
was going to UNLV. And I hired a lot of guys. He was a big guy. And he's at my door. And I used to have my perch where I sat. And for the people who didn't know, Gianni Russo State Street was the place to go if you can get in. Opening weekend, Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis was there every night for 3 nights straight.
Amazing.
After that, Elvis came. I mean, every star in the world, and they came as a friend. I didn't pay them, but they knew I knew people, and it was fun. 14,000 square feet with a casino.
That's
no
incredible.
Rooms.
Yeah.
Now, how do you build something like that with no rooms? Because of Mo Dalitz and Maya Lansky. They gave me the life.
Who I can see why maybe you went to Cuba. Speaking of Meyer Lansky.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
How you know? So long story short, this guy comes in. He's giving everybody $100 bills. We see that a lot. They made a big score. So I call the front door because before cell phones. I said, Steve, who's this guy? He says, we don't know. He's a customer from Caesar's Palace, and it's their check. Great, load him up. So now he's got a bottle of Cristal, a bottle of Louis XIII, 5 ounces of Beluga caviar pate.
It's not a bad table to be at if you like drinking and eating.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Guess what the guy does? He breaks the Cristal bottle and stabs his date with it in the face.
Oh shit!
I'm saying,
wow, Johnny.
I called Steve. I said, Steve, get the table 7. He said, I ain't going over there, man. That guy's nuts. I said, what do you think I hired you for? His boss, that guy's nuts. So I used to have a thing because a lot of mob people came to my place and I didn't know all of them. So I went over and I declared myself. I said, sir, I'm Gianni Russo. This is my home. You're in my house. Because most Italians would know that. And I said, see, this girl needs a little attention. You hear those sirens? They're coming for you. I think you should go out the exit door. Nobody knows who you are. I got to get to the hospital. He says, no, man. I said, no, man. Where are you from? He says, you don't want to know.
Wow.
And I don't know, he had the bottle of Cristal yet. That's what he broke the bottle, stuck it right in the face.
That's incredible. That's crazy.
So now I'm saying to myself, how am I going to get rid of this guy? A little guy, not that he was a big guy, I wasn't afraid of him. But he had, I didn't know he had the bottle yet. I just wanted to get him out. With this, he reaches for the girl and he spins around, tries to slit my throat.
Wow.
So agile enough, I go back and he cuts me here, 81 stitches. My chin is hanging. And I'm watching, we all got cut by shaving. I'm watching blood.
Yeah, you don't know if he got your throat. You really don't know in,
I know
in that blink of an eye.
Talking, but anyway.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Got it.
So I'm saying, that's how my mind works of survival. I got to survive here. I said, look what you did to my shirt. I waited 6 months for the shirt. Sea Island cotton shirt. He's looking at me like, who's this guy? But I could feel my fingers are getting light already. I just
Oh,
want
God.
I wanted to get my hand on my gun.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's paying attention to the story. I drew, put it right to his forehead. I said, now get out of here. He said, F you. I said, F me. I put two right between his eyes. 150 people, like, there's a hole. Eddie, I'm watching blood come down this guy's. He's still looking at me. So I get the gun. I put 3 right in his chest. He hits the floor. As soon as he hits the floor, everybody comes in, police, everybody. So they pull me aside. Coots, I know the detective. He said, what went on? I said, just bring everybody in. And now I'm wrapped.
Yeah, of
with
course.
a towel. But I learned a strange lesson. The first ambulance came, didn't go to the girl. They went to the most traumatized, him, the bum that stabbed her.
Wow.
The second ambulance, and the girl's still alive, Lois Moranis. She says a novena for me every day. But Coots comes to me. I said, take me down. Where State Street was right off of Maryland Parkway, near, what was the name of the hospital? Sunrise Hospital. So we get in the car. He says, tell me what went on. I said, this guy comes in, so you had nothing to do. I said, no, he stabbed the girl, then me. Everybody saw, yeah, he gets on the radio. Anybody that saw, bring them all in. I want to bring them in. I was generous. I paid for their campaigns, all this stuff. 21 days, I beat that case.
Wow.
But the
That's-
problem was, I killed Lorenzo Morales, the underboss of Pablo Escobar.
Holy shit. Yeah. Like how, how,
Should we be on this show?
well, but how, it's, well, no, but you think about it, like, okay, then
my
he's
God.
still here. So obviously, you had to navigate that circumstance.
No, so I did. I come home, I find a whole Santeria, because I've been in hospital 3 days. I got stitched me up to I lost a lot of blood. I live in a gated community, locked down. You ain't getting in. There's a Santeria. So I call Coots. I said, Coots, what's this? He brings somebody in that knows that whole thing of Santeria and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He says, you're marked for death, which is not a good thing.
No.
And they had my kids in glasses of blood with salamanders. I said, what does that mean? Is it going to kill your kids, your pets, your neighbors, your last? I said, wait a minute. So I fly to New York to meet a guy that hated me. I didn't dislike John Gotti. I didn't care about him. He was a new guy, very flamboyant. Do what you got to do. I'm not into that shit. I left
Yeah.
that neighborhood 20 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So I walk into the Ravenite, where I was there before anybody. I walked in the Ravenite when I was 12, 247 Mulberry Street. When they dropped me off from the hospital, they didn't take me home. They took me to Carlo Gambino's club.
Oh my God.
So he says to me, I walk in. He's, oh, big killer. Who's that? All over everywhere,
Mhm.
Everybody had it on the Entertainment Tonight. All that was on already. Oh, now you're a killer. And I said, listen, John, none of your bullshit. I'm not here for any reason. I know you know Pablo Escobar. I want to go to Bogota. He said, what? I said, I want to go to Bogota. He said, I'll buy you the ticket. He thought I'd never come back. Most people, even
Yeah,
I said
yeah.
goodbye to my older kids. I said, Daddy may not come back, but I'm not going to let them kill everybody.
No, because I guess you sacrifice yourself at that point if you drive, if you fly down there. Yeah.
So I flew in. The good news, they set up a meeting, and Noriega, another friend of mine at that time, he set it up. So I had Gotti, Noriega, I had people talking for me. So I go see him in a church, which I felt good about. In Costa, where the hell was that town? The major town
In Bogota, Medellin.
yeah. Where
Okay.
he just built.
Yeah,
the
Medellin.
whole prison.
Yep.
So I walk in, I see him up at the front of the saint. So I'm walking down the pews. As I'm walking down the aisle, the pews are cracking, and in the periphery, I'm seeing guys sitting up. The church was loaded with his guys.
Oh yeah.
So now I get to the altar. Is you Johnny Russo? I said, yeah. And that's all I remember. Somebody hit me from behind.
Ah,
I wake up 3 floors in the prison he built,
no.
Wow.
shackled to a chair, nude, with no seat,
What?
body bags laying all around me. The stench was insane.
Oh my God.
I don't even know how long I was there. A guy, you picture me sitting at my level. I look up, and this guy talks to me. And in his hand, he has a book called Making of the Godfather.
Got here. That's
Why
crazy.
didn't you tell me you were Carlo? Just clean him up and bring him up to the house. This is insane how this movie, which I
Saved
was
your ass.
saved my ass. Man, I didn't even get to Saddam Hussein yet. We could be here for days. I met
Oh
all
my
these guys.
God.
Forget about it. No, I mean,
Well,
this is
but
crazy.
it's funny. It's not funny, but it's like,
crazy. Yes, because there should be a film. There should be a film. It should be
well,
out now.
and there will be one when
Oh,
the
yeah.
time is
Okay.
right and
I'm
everything
freaking out.
is.
I'm sitting in
Well,
disbelief over here.
No, but I love your energy, Megan. Wow.
Jesus. Well, I've always been obsessed a little bit with mob stories and history, and I went to the mob museum in
God,
Vegas. And
I'm going to be at the, you have to come. I'll be
oh,
at the
when?
Mob Museum. They're bringing me back in.
I love
once
that.
you, every time you try to
there's-
leave, they bring you back in.
They do. They do.
You know what's nice about going to the Mob Museum? The first time I went there, where they had my book there,
Yeah.
the Mob Museum, most people don't notice, is built in the federal courthouse.
Yeah.
Oscar Goodman got it. So the first night I go there 3.5 years ago, I walk in, the place is packed with everybody. And I get on stage and I said, I look around, I said, I can't believe all the people are here. I said, you know how many years they've been trying to get me in this building? I had 20 indictments, I beat them all.
In the
courthouse.
They finally did. I
Johnny-
love it. One of the things about it that I'm always fascinated with, and I don't know if I'd ever survive, but the lack of women, obviously, on the wall. You know, I always thought I was born in the wrong era. Maybe I could have been something. I don't know.
Well, the gun malls never really, got publicity because the real guys were married. So those girls are not getting any kind of publicity.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's true.
I don't know.
That's true.
If I
We
don't
only
know
found
what
out
I
about
would-
them in the movies later. That was really the please. And I could ask you about Marilyn Monroe because I believe we're coming up on the anniversary. There's a big Marilyn Monroe anniversary that's coming up now because my friend was staying at a hotel in Beverly Hills, and it's like some Marilyn Monroe convention, and he showed me pictures. There was like 100 women that are like cosplaying as Marilyn Monroe
I know.
Oh, Jesus.
at this hotel.
I'm looking at Marilyn Monroe right here. I could turn my camera to it. I have a portrait of Marilyn Monroe that I took when we used to leave late at night to Grand Central Station and go to Brooklyn Bridge, walk over to Brooklyn Bridge and sit on the other side and look into New York. And every time I was with her, respectfully, not talking, making.
Yeah.
Every time I was with her, when I left at the Waldorf, Costello hid her in the Waldorf for a year. I don't know if you know that.
No, that I don't know. Yeah.
Well, she got away from Xanax, gained the weight. She had certain things she had to be listed. She wanted out of that contract because she wanted to be known as a thespian. And she was studying here.
She studied at the Actors Studio. I mean, she studied at one of the most prestigious places to study.
And I used to go there at 11 o'clock at night on 15th Street off of Park Avenue to pick her up. Nobody knew this.
Yeah.
Because Costello would go home. The last 4 years of her life, I met her shampooing. I got caught on the streets. I had to go to continuation school. So they sent me to Costello set me up. The fourth head of hair shampooing is Marilyn Monroe's. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even know how long I was looking at it. And she's, we all know the configuration of the shampoo base, and she's facing the ceiling. She said, is anybody in here? I said, excuse me, I'm sorry. And your audience and you, nobody realizes at night, After I said my novenas at St. Patrick's Cathedral, I'd walk over to Broadway. The theaters were open 24 hours a day. I watched some like it hot 10 times. And after the third or fourth or fifth time I was there, even when I bought the popcorn at 1 o'clock in the morning, they were giving me more napkins this thick, because they knew I was masturbating up there.
Well, I mean, that was before the Victoria's Secret catalog. That was before,
I was like,
that was before anything.
that totally went right over. I was like, napkins. Where's the story going? Oh, God.
No, but the show I'm on tour with right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've already did 3 cities. I'm coming your way. I bought all this footage. So when I tell you the story chronologically, I take you to that. I bought the footage of her singing it with that sheer dress.
That's great.
And I mean, this show is, if you hear it being played anywhere, go see
Well,
it.
Megan and I are going to come see you
I would
when you're
love
here in
to.
LA. We're definitely going to come see the show.
Oh, I'm inviting you.
Scared
at-
too, but will.
I'm at
Very
the
Just don't bring your skull cane, please, around me.
I'm at the Pala Casino, October 1st, if you're down in that area.
Okay.
And then on the 2nd, you gotta let me know, I'm at Herb Alpert's Vibrato up in Bel Air.
Oh, so you're right here. Yeah.
Hello.
I would love to.
Yo, yeah, you are right here. And
Let me know. I'll get you a table and you'll be my guest.
When you're doing a great event in September down in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken, you're doing an evening you can't refuse, which I love.
Yeah.
So
that's
folks
at
down
Pala. That's a Pala.
that's the one that's at that's
1,200 people. And I'm also doing one for the Italian American Club down in Little Italy, because I'm helping them build. They want to build a clubhouse. So I'm dedicating the first night. All the proceeds go to them. Second night is at Pala Casino, 1,200 people.
Oh,
If you want to come there, I'll get your rooms. You'll be my guest. You don't have to pay for nothing.
I would first of all love to see you again, because I haven't seen you since Any Given Sunday. I haven't seen you in person since I was working at a restaurant.
You sound like some of my sons.
Gianni, is there? I don't know. We're getting close to wrapping up, but I was really curious because was that film, For Which He Stands, was that the first film you wrote?
No, I wrote 3 films that year. I wrote a film called PCH.
Okay.
Elliot Gould, Sally Kellerman. I discovered Denise Richards.
Oh yeah.
And it was a great movie. Not a great movie, but it was my movie. You asked me what I wrote. I wrote it.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. I wrote For Which He Stands, and I wrote something else. I'm just doing this as goofing.
Well, is there any kind of like unwritten rule of the film you wrote For Which It Stands, Vegas casino, but it's about this essentially what happens with this Colombian drug guy.
One night, yeah, the drug guy.
Is there an unwritten rule, because you had friends that were that had affiliations, that you don't write a film about that, even though you were in The Godfather, but maybe you don't write a film about those stories, or no?
I've had meetings in Sicily constantly. I'm still good friends with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I own Genco Olive Oil. Paramount.
Yes.
Hello, I do.
Brilliant. So folks who don't know Genco Olive Oil, watch The Godfather. You'll see Genco Olive Oil, and also brilliant branding, by the way, for the Genco Olive Oil, which is part of Corleone Fine Italian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And it's the can from the movie. That's why I say to a lot of people, even like in The Offer, in the original film, Michael says, the closing scene before he killed me. Megan, pay attention to this. This is bad.
I am. I'm getting into it. I'm down.
Said, no, Carlo, your punishment is you're out of the family business. Well, now I own the family business. They're all out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Johnny, you know what's so funny is I don't want to take up any more of your time because I know how precious your time is. We're getting
He's
we're
got a
getting,
third book to get to, Eddie. He's got a third one. He's got to get to it.
And the thing
No,
is,
I'm
Johnny's
on
so
stage
generous.
tomorrow night. I'm going. I'm leaving
You're always
tomorrow
on
morning,
stage.
6
Johnny's so
o'clock.
generous. I know that he'll just keep talking to us. So if
Why
you know,
not? You get it. Forget about it.
I no, and it really means the world to me because, you know, having met you 20 plus some odd years ago, and you know, whether you know it or not, you made an impact on a kid who was a busboy at a restaurant because you were so lovely to all of us. You really were. And I worked at a place. I worked at a place where a lot of celebrities, athletes, you know, people just came in because of our location right there in Coconut Grove. And I can't speak to everybody being as generous and as kind as you were. And thank you so much for being generous and kind with Megan and I.
I'll
Because no
never
shit,
be-
we're taking you up on that. We're gonna go see your show.
I
I'm
want
so-
you.
I'm
You have
so
my
excited.
email. You have
How
my
can-
email. I want you.
How can the audience check you out? Of course, we've got the Hollywood Godfather podcast. We've got Corleone Fine Italian. Where else can folks? I mean, obviously, go to JohnnyRusso.com, please.
Right.
Mhm.
And
But
then
what-
your audience is everywhere. I mean, like I just said, the Apollo Casino, it's going to be a great show. And Vibrato is very small and intimate. There's only 120 seats. But if I drop the names that are already coming,
Oh my God.
I want to see you. I mean, yes, that's great,
No,
but I want to see
I
you.
want you to see me. That you gave me a
Yeah.
lot of great compliments. And you know, my one thing that I was told early on by major guys like Costello, like, you know, I can name every major guy. They said, Johnny, always be nice.
Oh.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The rest of it we'll take care of.
Is that the best advice you ever got?
It is. Think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And any
I
regrets?
never spent, this may sound crazy to everybody else. I never had handcuffs on. I never been arrested. I never spent the night in jail.
What?
That's right.
Not once.
Not
Hold on.
one. Not had a handcuff on. I had 3 murder investigations, all dismissed.
Wow.
23 federal indictments, all dismissed. And I got apologies for it because they tarnished my reputation.
So I think you're more Teflon than anybody else who's been referred to as Teflon. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Tell me about it.
If the shoes were flipped, right, and somebody from Colombia had let's say similar circumstances at a club casino in Medellin, and that dude flew to Mulberry Street to a church, do you think that guy would have woken up?
If he said what I said to him,
Yeah, okay.
what I said, we never got to it. When he finally was in his dining room, he said, I want to ask you one question. Why did you come here? I said, I did my homework. You have a daughter, Gina. I have a daughter, Gina, same age. If somebody was going to kill your daughter, what would you do? He got up from the dining room table, walked to me. He said, get up. I didn't know he was going to cut off my head. He hugged me. There's very few men like us. And he let me go. See, I think if you're a man and you stand up for your rights, I don't care who you are. And to answer your question, you went to Mulberry Street and explained why you were there, you'd be on the radio talking right now and talking about it.
Got it.
Because they're real
Yeah.
guys. If they're idiots with dealing drugs and whatever they're doing, we're not a part of that. I never will be. I'm not even in the mob. Everybody thinks I'm in the mob. How can I have 73 liquor licenses?
Yeah. So Johnny, they let you go, and I think it's time for us to let you go. But before you go, first of all, folks, please head to JohnnyRusso.com. If you want some great Italian products, he does not mess around. Like he said, these are his recipes at Corleone Fine Italian. And I mean, today I listened to the James Caan episode of your podcast, which is great. The Hollywood Godfather podcast, available, you know, where you get your freshly squeezed podcast. Johnny, we end every show the same, and it never gets old for me because I love acknowledging people, and the only thing we don't get back in life is time. And Megan and I want to acknowledge you so much for taking some of your precious time and
please.
spending it here with Megan and I. We will definitely take our time and go spend it with you when you have our show.
And then we'll do it again. Anytime.
Yes,
Absolutely.
please. Oh, I could
Absolutely.
talk to you for hours.
Guys, please like, subscribe. It's because of lovely conversations like these that Megan and I love to get behind the microphone and talk. And it's one of the most beautiful things that we get to do. Thanks so much. And have an awesome night in New York City, Johnny. Good luck with your show. I know you're on tomorrow. So please enjoy your wine, get some rest.
Break a leg.
God bless. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you. Talk soon.